Hi, you know that feeling when you're trying to get two apps to connect to each other and it just doesn't connect? There's no app for it, there's no built in sync, nothing to make them talk to each other. Webhooks are how you solve that problem. Webhooks are basically a way to connect two apps or two websites so that they can speak to each other and send a message as soon as something happens. Once you understand how they work, it opens up the world of automation for you. Let me show you how to do it. So before we get into the tools, I want to show you what's actually happening when a webhook runs, because once you see it, everything else clicks. Let's say an event happens. Maybe a client fills out your inquiry form or a new estimate gets sent. That event is the starting point. Now, without a webhook, your automation tool would keep checking. It would keep checking back, did something happen yet? What about now? That's called polling, and it's slow and inefficient. You keep checking to see if the event led to an outcome. But with a webhook, the moment that event happens, it sends a signal directly to a webhook URL. Think of that URL like a private mailbox address. It's just sitting there waiting to receive any information you send it. So you don't have to keep manually checking, it's just waiting. It'll automatically get the data as soon as it's triggered. The data from that event arrives at the URL instantly. Then your automation tool picks it up, reads it, and now knows exactly what happened and what has to happen next. What happens next is the action. The action runs. Maybe a record gets created, maybe an email goes out, and just like that, the result is there. No waiting, no checking, it just happens. And that's the whole idea. One event triggers a chain and the chain handles itself. Okay, now let's see it live first in make.com, then in n8n. We go to make.com and we create the listener. In Make, we add the webhooks module and select custom webhook. From there, you'll follow the prompts to create the webhook, and Make will give you a unique mailbox URL just like the one I described for you in the previous clip, and that's the webhook that will listen for any data that comes in. And now that you have your unique URL, you copy that address to your clipboard and you will go over to Tally. We won't go to settings, we'll go to integrations and we'll see webhook, click connect and paste that unique URL and connect. We see that it connected successfully. So now to test it, we go to an incognito window, paste in the link for that form and put in some test data so that when we go back to make.com to run the module to see if it connects properly, there's something it can listen for. Here I have a very simple project inquiry form, name, email, project details, and start date. Now, before you hit submit, we'll go over to Make. If you didn't save it already, make sure you save the webhook module. And you right click and you click Run Module. This will get it to start listening for data. We go back to the form and we click Submit. And as we go back to Make, we see that it was successful. We see the green check mark. Make just caught that data. Now you can map that info into any follow-up modules, whether it's your CRM, a Slack notification. Your options are endless. But you already have a custom webhook listening for the data in real time that you can use for any automation going forward. Next, I'll show you how to do this in n8n. Now let's move over to n8n. If you're doing your automations over in n8n, this is how you set up your webhook. The logic is the same, but you have a little bit more control. You start with the webhook module, and for the HTTP method, you set this to post. That's the standard for pushing data. Now at the top, you will see that there is a test URL and a production URL. You have two options. Always use the test URL while you're building so you can see the execution data come up in your canvas on the screen. Copy that webhook URL and go back to your Tally form under the webhook connection, edit it, remove the make.com URL and paste the URL you got from n8n, save those changes, head back to n8n, listen for test event. Now, while it's waiting for data to come in, you'll go back to your project inquiry form and put in more test data, a different set of test data, so that you'll see it populated in n8n that it's currently waiting for. Once you submit your form, you'll see the JSON data appear instantly in your sidebar. You'll go through it and make sure you have everything that you're looking for.
Once you're happy with it, make sure you flip the URL from test URL over to production for the real version, and it will now be live, running, and always listening for data that is sent to that webhook URL. So whether you're in Make or n8n, the secret is always the same. Generate the URL in your automation tool and paste it into the settings of your source app. Once you understand that a webhook is just a push instead of a pull, you can automate almost anything instantly. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, put it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.